We like to think of the suburbs as safe, peaceful, predictable, boring, even. The manicured lawns, the quiet streets, the friendly wave from a neighbor. It's the picture of a life tucked away from danger. It's a place to raise a family, feel secure. But the truth is, real darkness doesn't care about property lines. And sometimes, the unblinking eye of a security camera captures what we refuse to believe is right outside our door. These 8 clips, captured by ordinary people on ordinary cameras, will make you question what you think you know about your quiet neighborhood. They're a stark reminder that sometimes the biggest threats are the ones you never see coming until you check the footage. Number 8. Our countdown starts on a quiet, tree-lined street in Carrollton, Texas, a suburb where you wouldn't expect much to happen. For a homeowner named Lori, her Ring doorbell was mostly for convenience, seeing when packages arrived or when her husband was home. A small piece of tech that offered simple peace of mind. But on the night of January 21st, 2020, that peace was shattered by a single chilling notification on her phone. Lori and her husband were out for the evening. They had just stopped to buy a lottery ticket and were sitting in their car when her phone buzzed with a motion alert. She opened the Ring app, probably expecting a stray cat. Instead, her screen filled with an image so bizarre she said she immediately started to freak out. A figure was walking up her driveway, wearing a blood-red goat mask, a grotesque, devil-like caricature with horns. The figure moved with a strange, deliberate confidence. It didn't rush or sneak around. It just walked through the side yard and approached her front door like it belonged there. It stopped, turned its head, and stared directly into the camera lens. Lori watched, her heart pounding, as the masked intruder held up a cardboard sign. On it was a biblical reference, Revelation 21:15. For anyone unfamiliar, that passage describes Judgment Day, the final reckoning where Satan is cast into a lake of fire. As Lori watched live on her phone, miles away, this devil at the door held the sign for a few moments, pretended to knock, then turned and vanished into the night. She called the Carrollton police, but the figure was long gone. An official report was filed, but since no crime was technically committed, there was little authorities could do. But for Lori, the damage was done. In an interview, she expressed a deep, lingering fear. I'm scared. I'm scared to leave the house. I'm scared to be at the house. The video went viral, horrifying people with its audacity. Was it a prank, a threat, a religious fanatic? The ambiguity is what makes it so terrifying. It's a modern boogeyman who doesn't hide in the closet. He rings your doorbell and leaves you with a chilling message and the question of whether he'll be back. Number 7. We've all grown used to seeing criminals in masks, hiding in the shadows. But this next story from Las Vegas is terrifying for the exact opposite reason. The man who showed up on Amanda Nowak's front porch wasn't hiding at all. His intentions were crystal clear, and he delivered them in a calm, conversational tone that's far more chilling than any scream. It was a Wednesday in July of 2021 when a stranger appeared at Amanda's front door. She was home alone, and her Ring camera started recording as he leaned in and rang the bell. He looked unassuming, just a guy in regular clothes. He knocked again, then started speaking to the camera, his voice strangely polite, repeating the same question over and over. Are you sure? Are you positive? Inside, Amanda had a terrible feeling. She did the right thing and immediately called 911. At the same time, her husband got the motion alert on his phone. Seeing the man, he used the Ring's two-way talk feature to ask who he was and what he wanted. The man seemed confused at first, but then it was like a switch flipped. The polite facade crumbled, and what came next was the audio of a nightmare, speaking directly into the camera to the husband on the other end of the app. The man laid out his plan with horrifying clarity. He said, and I quote, "What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her. Do you have her open the door?" He didn't shout. He spoke with a coldness that was profoundly disturbing. He went on, "I have a knife and a gun." He just stood there, a calm predator, announcing his hunt. The family later posted the footage on social media to warn their neighbors. And it went viral. The chilling nature of the man's direct threats shook the community. And thankfully, it worked. The very next day, someone who saw the video on Facebook recognized him and called the authorities. Police arrested 40-year-old Jonathan W., who was later charged with aggravated stalking and coercion. Among other things, Amanda was physically unharmed, but the psychological terror of that encounter, captured so clearly by her camera, is a dark reminder that sometimes evil doesn't need to break down the door. Sometimes it just rings the bell and tells you it's coming. Number 6, there are certain fears that are universal. The fear of the dark, the fear of being watched, and maybe the most primal of all, the fear that someone is living in your home without you knowing it. For most of us, that's just horror movie stuff. But for a woman in Lake Elsinore, California, this nightmare became a terrifying reality. In August of 2023, a TikTok user named Ashley Guardino started hearing strange noises in her house. At first, she dismissed it as sounds from the roof, but the noises wouldn't stop, and she felt a growing unease. One day, she was standing at her front door when she saw something that made her freeze. The grass near a crawlspace access hole by her porch was moving. As she stared, a human arm emerged from the hole. She described it as a dirty A arm, feeling around the side of the house from the darkness beneath. In that instant, she realized the horrifying truth. The noises weren't from her roof. They were coming from under her floor. There was a man living in her crawl space. There is a whole man living here for months, she later said in a viral video about the ordeal. She immediately called the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. When deputies arrived, the man refused to come out. For what felt like an eternity, deputies tried to coax him out from the cramped, dark space beneath the family's feet. Finally, he surrendered and was taken into custody. But the horror didn't end there. In a follow-up video, the homeowner claimed she knew the man. She alleged that he had previously been arrested for arson after burning down his child's mother's house, a place where she had also previously allowed him to stay in the crawl space because he was homeless. While that part of the story comes from her and wasn't independently verified by news outlets, the core event is terrifying enough. The thought that every creak of the floorboards, every unexplained sound in the night, was actually a sign of a hidden, unwelcome guest is the confirmation of a deep-seated fear. It proves that sometimes the monster under the bed is very, very real. Number 5. In recent years, law enforcement in Southern California has warned about a sophisticated and disturbing tactic used by modern burglars, so-called burglary tourism. Organized theft groups, often from South America, travel to affluent suburban neighborhoods to carry out targeted robberies. But their method goes way beyond a simple smash and grab. They conduct patient, technological surveillance, studying their victims for weeks by planting their own hidden cameras on your property. This brings us to a series of chilling discoveries made across Southern California, in communities from Glendale to Chino Hills. Between 2022 and 2024, homeowners began finding strange objects in their yards. One resident noticed a faint green light coming from a bush. It wasn't an insect or a garden light. It was a small, covert camera, camouflaged with fake grass and pointing directly at his house. Police confirmed his worst fears. It was being used to learn his family's schedule for a future break-in. This was not an isolated incident. In Chino Hills, another resident found a hidden camera disguised as a fake plant near their driveway, powered by a large battery for long-term surveillance. In other cases, cameras were found nestled in bushes after an attempted break-in or hidden inside decorative planters. The tactic is as insidious as it is terrifying. These aren't just opportunistic thieves, they're patient predators. They hide these devices in flower beds and under bushes, turning a home's own garden into a staging ground for a crime. The cameras allow them to learn everything: when you leave for work, when you pick up your kids from school, when the house is empty and vulnerable. They are literally watching your life, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When police in Glendale arrested a group of suspected burglars, they discovered cameras covered in leaves inside their SUV, directly linking the devices to these organized theft rings. The discoveries have sent a wave of paranoia through these communities. It transforms the whole idea of home security. The danger isn't just someone trying to get in, it's someone already there, hiding in plain sight, watching your every move through a lens you never knew existed. Number 4. Most of the stories on this list involve threats that come from outside the home. But this next one is about a far more invasive and psychological horror when the threat gets inside, not by breaking a window, but by hacking the very devices you installed to feel safe. Around December of 2019, a really disturbing trend started popping up. Hackers began exploiting weak passwords on Ring and other home security cameras to gain access to the live feeds and two-way speakers. They weren't just watching, they were interacting, turning a tool of security into an instrument of terror. In DeSoto County, Mississippi, a couple had installed a Ring camera in their 8-year-old daughter's bedroom to keep an eye on her. Just 4 days later, that security was violated in the most terrifying way. Late one night, the little girl was in her room when a strange song, "Tiptoe Through the Tulips," began playing from the camera's speaker. The song is already creepy, thanks to the horror film Insidious, but that was just the beginning. The girl, confused and scared, walked toward the camera and asked, "Who is that?" A man's voice responded. "I'm your best friend. I'm Santa Claus," he said. "Don't you want to be my best friend?" He then encouraged her to mess up her room and break her TV. The girl screamed for her mother, and the hacker kept taunting her until her parents rushed in. The footage is deeply disturbing. You can hear the pure terror in a child's voice as she realizes a stranger is watching and speaking to her in her own bedroom. This was not an isolated case. In Dallas, Georgia, a woman heard a man's cough come from her camera. Thinking it was her boyfriend, she texted him. His reply sent a shiver down her spine. "I'm not." A stranger's voice then spoke through the camera. "I can see you in the bed. Come on, wake the fuck up." In Cape Coral, Florida, a hacker woke a couple up by spewing racist remarks through their living room camera. These events expose a uniquely modern horror. The intruder isn't physically in your house, but their presence is just as real a ghost in the machine who can invade your most private spaces. Ring and other companies have since implemented stronger security, like mandatory two-factor authentication. But for these families, the knowledge that a stranger was able to watch them in their beds and speak to their children in their rooms is a horror that can't be patched. These stories are a dark reminder to always be aware of your surroundings, both physical and digital. If you appreciate content that explores the unsettling side of reality, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Your support helps us continue to bring these important and often terrifying true stories to light. Now, it's time for our final and perhaps most disturbing clips. Number 3, there's a certain terror that comes with the unexplained. A masked intruder is horrifying, but at least you understand the motive. What happens when a camera captures something that seems to break the rules of reality itself? That's exactly what happened in our next story, which comes from Colorado Springs and features a piece of footage that remains one of the most debated viral clips ever. In the early morning hours of a day in June 2019, a homeowner named Vivian Gomez checked her security footage and saw something so bizarre she couldn't believe her eyes. The clip is short, just a few seconds, but it's packed with high-definition weirdness. A figure moves across her driveway, but this is no ordinary person. The being is small and incredibly thin, with long, spindly limbs and what looks like large, floppy ears. It walks with a strange, jerky gait, swinging its arms in a way that just doesn't look human. Because of its appearance, the internet quickly nicknamed it the Dobby the Elf creature, after the character from Harry Potter. Gomez was so disturbed she posted the video online, where it exploded. Hashtags trended for days, and the clip was dissected by everyone from UFO enthusiasts to professional skeptics. The theories were all over the place. Some claimed it was an elaborate hoax or clever CGI. Others suggested a more mundane explanation, like a young child wearing shorts on their head. What made it even stranger was Gomez's claim that her other 2 security cameras didn't capture the figure at all. To this day, no explanation has ever been definitively proven. The clarity of the footage is what makes it so hard to dismiss. Unlike blurry photos or shaky videos, this was captured in clear HD on a standard home security device. It's a sharp image of something that simply shouldn't be there. Whether it was a prank, a trick of the light, or something truly bizarre. The Dobby creature has become a piece of modern suburban folklore, a chilling reminder that in the quiet of the night, even our own driveways can become a stage for the truly inexplicable. Number 2, some of the most terrifying security footage doesn't feature ghosts or aliens. It features the cold, calculated reality of human predators. The footage of armed home invasions is particularly chilling, showing with brutal efficiency how quickly a family sanctuary can be turned into a crime scene. These clips often start with a horrifyingly common scene, a suburban home, seemingly secure. Then, the peace is shattered. We've all seen the videos. A man, his face obscured, approaches a front door. He doesn't knock. He rears back and slams his shoulder into it with full force. The frame splinters. He hits it again, and the door breaks open. Within seconds, a second, third, or even fourth armed figure rushes in behind him, moving like a trained unit to take control of the house. Beyond the camera's view, the unimaginable happens. A sleeping family is woken up by armed intruders standing over their beds, held at gunpoint while their home is ransacked. The psychological terror of that moment is impossible to overstate. But sometimes, amidst the horror, these cameras capture moments of bizarre, almost comical chaos. In one now famous clip of a home invasion getaway, a security camera in a backyard captured one of the intruders, presumably trying to make his escape, slipping and falling directly into the family's swimming pool with a loud splash. The image is absurd: a flailing, soaking wet criminal scrambling out of the water to continue his escape. That moment of levity is gone in a flash, but it highlights the unpredictable nature of these events. Police often state that in many of these brazen invasions, the homes were specifically targeted. Whether that's more or less comforting than a random attack is up for debate. The footage left behind serves as a visceral, gut-wrenching testament to the fact that sometimes danger doesn't need a reason or a warning. It just needs a door to break down. Number 1, we end our countdown with a story that embodies a silent, patient, and deeply personal kind of horror. It's not about one violent burst, but a slow burn terror campaign that unfolded over weeks. This isn't one single documented case, but a terrifying pattern that echoes across countless online forums like Reddit, shared by people haunted by a man who simply stands and watches. The story is always chillingly similar. A person, often a woman living alone, starts getting motion alerts from her Ring camera at her apartment door. Night after night, when she checks the feed, the image is always the same: a man standing silently in the hallway just outside her door. He doesn't knock. He doesn't try the handle. He just stands there. Sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for much longer. The footage shows him in stark, emotionless detail. He'll stand with his hands in his pockets, posture relaxed, as if he's just waiting. But his focus is always on that door. A silent sentinel, a statue of pure menace, planted just feet from where she sleeps. Imagine the psychological toll. Every night, knowing this man will inevitably appear. Your phone buzzes, and you're forced to watch this stranger loitering outside your home. His intentions, a complete and terrifying mystery. Is he just a creep? Is he working up the courage to do something worse? The not knowing is the real torture. In these stories, the person almost always reports it to the police. But as many victims of stalking find out, law enforcement's hands are often tied until a direct threat is made or a law is broken. Standing in a public hallway isn't technically a crime. The stalker operates in a gray area of intimidation, and he knows it. This kind of story is number 1 on our list because it represents a unique and insidious form of modern horror. It's not about what happened, but about what could happen at any moment. The constant looming threat is more terrifying than a single act of violence. The security camera becomes both a shield and a source of torment. It's the only witness, the proof of the nightly ritual, but it also forces you to watch your own horror story unfold in real time, night after terrifying night. The man in the hallway is a ghost made of flesh and blood, a chilling reminder that the most terrifying monsters are the ones who are patient. 8 glimpses into the darkness that can lie just beneath the surface of everyday life. From the silent watcher in the hall to the bizarre figure in the driveway, these stories prove that the illusion of safety is fragile. The cameras we install to watch over our homes sometimes show us a world we'd rather not see, a world where threats can be sophisticated, strange, or terrifyingly human. They remind us that danger doesn't always announce itself with a crash. Sometimes it's a faint green light in a bush, a strange voice from a speaker, or a silent figure on a screen. It makes you wonder what's happening on your street after the lights go out. Stay safe out there.